Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Sports Zone 904. I know it's been a couple of weeks. Do apologize. Work, life, adult shit happens. But
Adulting is real.
apparently, we might have to do this more often because when we don't do podcasts, the Jaguars actually win. So
It feels like it. It feels that
yeah,
way.
so on a 3-game win streak, we went from how in the hell the sky was falling, the earth was breaking apart. Oh crap, we're
hmm
having wars now in the Middle East where when we come back and watch everything settle down, they're like everyone's getting up, crazy because
Yep, yep.
no
We
sports
were
zone on
gone.
the floor. It's our fault. We're causing all the chaos and havoc.
We were gone for too long, and everybody was saying the panic button. So next thing you know, we had to come back. We're
Yeah,
sorry.
panic button was dropped when a I'm gonna literally say this, and I guarantee we're gonna have a lot of people that may agree with this, may not agree with this. I don't care. I'm just gonna say it.
hmm
I think Houston might be a playoff team this year. They might be a wild card team.
They looking like it. I mean, the way
They're
CJ
scrappy,
Stroud has been playing, they're a scrappy team. I mean,
and
you might see them in the as a wild card.
I think Tennessee's about to close up shop because they're now shopping, from what I've heard, Derrick Henry. So send Derrick Henry
Hmm.
to the NFC. Don't want to see him. Um, so it could be Houston right there around that 7. I looked
Yep.
at the official standings of the NFL, and of course, the joys of being the 4th seed in the AFC and the AFC South. You're always awarded the 4th seed, but because of the standings and because of the tiebreakers,
hmm
of course, it's let's just say I mentioned before, and what you mentioned before, and what we talked about before. The AFC is basically the Kansas City Chief Invitational, where it's the AFC's the Kansas City Regional. Like they're
hmm
hosting a regional, and you just got to play Kansas City through their regional to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But right now, as of right now, if the playoffs started today, your Jacksonville Jaguars will be in the postseason against a Buffalo Bills team that is very beatable.
Very beautiful. Some reason Jacks have their numbers, so it's kind of
Yeah.
crazy to think that.
If
But
that was a wild card game, I bet you this time around, you know how we got that? What was that Saturday night on the NBC? We got Al Michaels and Tony,
oh yeah,
that
like
crappy play-by-play. I guarantee you, if it was Buffalo and Jacksonville, that's Sunday Night Football with NBC's number 1 crew. I guarantee
hmm
you. Or we get Jim Nantz and Tony Romo. But because it was Chargers and Colts, and the national media keep pushing up uh, Herbert being better than Lawrence. How many times does Lawrence have to prove that he is better than him? How many times
hmm
does Lawrence has to prove that he's better than Josh Allen going
yeah,
head to head because he hasn't lost to him?
no,
Like
yeah,
they're
not.
saying, the saying goes, you have to beat them to prove them wrong. And so
And
far,
so far it's happened. I mean, you see it multiple times. I
yeah.
mean, Trevor beat Justin Herbert twice last year, one
Hmm.
during the regular season, one during the postseason, and
Correct.
you have us beating the Bills once last year. Now we beat them again
Yeah.
this year. So
So so if the playoffs started today in the AFC, we're entering week 7, I think, officially. No, this is
week
no, we're
six,
week 6.
yeah,
The
week
playoffs
six.
started today. The Cleveland Browns are traveling to the Miami Dolphins. That's sneaky good game because here's the reason why. The Browns have a good enough defense to shut down the Dolphins. One thing I've noticed about the Dolphins, they
hmm
score a lot of points. When they play against any team that has a heartbeat of a defense, they can't move the ball. Look at Buffalo. They couldn't move the
Yeah,
ball in Buffalo, and Jacksonville went up and down the field on Buffalo with ease.
and that's the thing. Like you see with the Dolphins, I mean, you look at their schedule and look at the teams they played. They haven't really faced a good
Hmm.
tough defense yet. So we don't know when that's going to come around. But if that playoff scenario did happen right now, I'll be leaning more towards the Browns. I mean, they've been scrappy lately, so we never thought that we'll see a Browns team being that scrappy.
And also, the other wild card matchup will be the Ravens and the Steelers in the first round.
That'd
That's a
be
rivalry.
interesting.
So no matter who the 3 seed is, or 6 seed is, or who the 1 seed is, or the 7 seed is, when those two teams face each other off,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't care if it's at Baltimore in Pittsburgh. Those two teams just beat each other up and
Yep.
eventually it's going to happen. But right now, Jacksonville is currently 4-2, and we're tied with the Baltimore Ravens. The only reason why the Baltimore Ravens are ahead of Jacksonville is because they have the better point differential than us in the tiebreaker. So that's
Of
week.
course.
But Jacksonville has an opportunity here in the next 2 weeks to possibly get to 6-2, and 6-2 going to bye week with San Francisco on the horizon. And yes,
Mhm.
I have heard that the NFL has kind of informed Jacksonville and San Francisco that that game might be flexed between the Niners and the Jags. So if the Niners and Jags take care of business, we might be seeing prime time here in Duval County in a couple of weeks because we're entering the
Mhm.
schedule in the NFL where we get into the flex season. Flex season's
Mhm.
week 8 and beyond.
Yeah.
And that's week 8, literally week 8. And that could be a marquee matchup. And when I look at San Francisco this past week, they're good. They're a good team. They're going to make some noise. They're going to run deep in the playoffs. They might win the NFC. But it seems like if you have a decent defense and a quarterback
Yeah.
in the XFL, you can beat San Francisco.
Yeah, that's true. Because who would have thought that the Browns would have actually beat the 49ers
PJ
that day?
Walker. PJ
That's
Walker.
that was crazy to see PJ Walker actually come in and go up against the 49ers
Hmm.
like that. And
And
plus,
it was called
you
fun.
got
I saw a meme on Facebook. Meant to share with the group that we're in. It said
mhm.
XFL quarterback, Mr. Irrelevant, and had the arrow point towards XFL quarterback. I'm like, damn, really? Brock
Dang,
Purdy
that's
didn't have a bad game. They were playing a freaking
mhm.
monsoon. It was raining like crazy. And
Mhm.
those type of games, the weather even outs the competition.
Oh
So,
yeah, it does.
but still, the Browns beat the Niners. I'm like, oh, that's the upset of the week. Then the Jets beat the Eagles.
That was
Like,
crazy. That was ridiculous of a loss for the Eagles there. Yeah, as I was watching that game, and it was like before I think it was like 2 minutes and 30 seconds left,
yeah.
and the Jets used up all their timeouts. I'm like, what y'all do? You have 2 minutes left. Then the next thing you know, the Eagles just decide to run a pass play, and
Hmm.
Hurts threw an awful pass straight to the defender and took it down to their 10-yard line. So who would have thought that? I
I
didn't.
might I might say something that NFL fans may go, yeah, you don't know what you're talking about. But honestly, I think the Detroit Lions are the best team in the NFC right now.
I agree.
They have the best offense out of all three of the top teams right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%.
The only
You can
reason why
tell.
Tampa Bay is first in their division is because it's at default. Someone has to be first in the NFC South.
Yeah, someone has to be.
So,
It's
and,
terrible to watch.
and they're going to stay up top because Jacksonville is going to beat New Orleans tonight here on Thursday Night Football. And now
Hmm.
Michaels is going to be as enthusiastic as he was with the second greatest comeback in playoff history that happened under his watch last year. Um,
Hmm.
Riley Patterson hit the field goal, game winner. No, there's a flag on the field. Who gives a shit about the flag now, Michaels?
Right.
You just witnessed the second greatest comeback in playoff history, and you're
Yeah.
worried about the flag on the field. Like, if that was the Patriots, or if that was the Colts, or if that was Dak Prescott and the Cowboys, you have to like give Mal Michaels some paper towels because he's just everywhere. Like,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? Uh,
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like that. I get kind of tired of that kind of stuff, but
yeah.
that is him though.
But let's get back speaking to the Jacksonville Jaguars, the 3-game winning streak. Of course, were little highlight moments. Calvin really finally found the end zone a couple of times. First
Hmm.
one was against Atlanta. Uh, I I really wanted to do a show a couple of weeks ago and talk about this. Um, Disney, you have to do more of the Toy Story things. That was actually pretty cool. But
And
if you're
yeah.
going to have players actually score touchdowns, catching passes, make sure the actual Toy Story person catches the ball. Calvin Ridley's touchdown, the ball went behind him like 10 feet. I'm like, man, it's a touchdown. It's like, no, the ball's 10 feet behind him. It's one like it made the Madden glitches look like like child's play. That's how bad it was. Uh, but overall, like last week, okay, We beat the Falcons 23-7.
Mm-hmm.
We basically controlled the game. Darius Williams had a pick six, and then Cisco got a pick, followed by a
Mm-hmm.
field goal. And also, the Jacksonville Jaguars lead the National Football Leagues in turnovers. They're plus
Yep.
15. They lead the league, and the closest team to us is the San Francisco 49ers at plus 7. We have doubled the San Francisco
Mm-hmm.
49ers.
And
And we thought that the Atlanta interceptions were a fluke, and we go against the Buffalo Bills, not Chicago Bears. I wish we played the Bears. That would be an easy
yeah,
W.
that'd be real easy.
We play Chicago. No, here we see. I'm looking
Oh,
at
here we go.
Chicago. Mentioned
Oh my
Chicago.
God.
Let me scroll down. Okay. We beat the Buffalo Bills 25-20.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I noticed about this game, and I think it's a blueprint you're going to start seeing NFL teams do to beat Buffalo, is if you shut down everyone else and let Stephon Diggs try to beat you, you will beat the Buffalo Bills. What did the Jacksonville Jaguars do against the Buffalo Bills? They gave up, of course, only 137 receiving yards to Stephon Diggs, which,
Mm-hmm.
again, that's Stephon freaking Diggs. He's going to get his yardage. But here's
Yep.
the thing. You look at the stats in this game and you go, let's look at all the other receivers for Buffalo. Stephon Diggs had 131 yards. Gabe Davis had 100. So that's decent. But a lot of that Gabe Davis stuff was garbage touchdowns at the end of the game.
Yep.
Because one reception here was for 39 yards, and that's that one play at the end of the game. So we basically had him down to 40 yards. Then you got Haintley, he had 62, but his was right here, one catch for 33. That was in the late in the fourth quarter in garbage time.
Mm-hmm.
So you take those plays away. That's 30 yards, 40 yards, 25 yards, 19, 17, 11, and Stephon at 121. When you
Mm-hmm.
slow down everyone else besides Stephon Diggs, you beat the Buffalo Bills. And one
Yeah.
thing that I am happy to announce here is that Jacksonville's defense, are we elite on defense this year?
I
Because
mean,
we are currently in the top 5 in both rushing and passing defense.
it's like before the season started, we had multiple questions on defense. We weren't for sure if this defense is going to really be there in order to stop this the opposing offense.
Correct.
And we all thought that our offense was going to be the elite ones. But right now, this defense that we have, they have stepped up significantly and have showed what they can do. I mean, you saw what we did against the Colts Sunday. I mean, yes, granted it was Gardner Minshew. I mean, but still, I mean, for them to step up and progressively get better, it's amazing because we didn't think this defense was going to be there this year. They were going to depend on Trevor in the high power offense and the receivers. I mean, like you said, like going back to the Falcons, get that pick six. Then it's Cisco with another pick. Then you go to the Bills, and you stop that offense as well.
You shut down their running game to only 27 yards. Authentic running, meaning not the quarterback scrambling. Josh Allen's going to scramble, but I don't count. Football Reference does a great breakdown of traditional run and quarterback run, and it shows you the difference. We held them to only 20. Let me see. I just had it right here. I just said it. My mind went blank. We held them to traditional 27 yards rushing.
Yeah.
We shut down their running attack.
Yeah, we shut down the running attack. We were putting quarterback pressure on Josh Allen the entire game, which was very surprising.
Oh, I don't want to talk about that bullshit. Rough in the pass or Josh
Allen.
Oh yeah,
that was BS. That was so BS.
What's he trying to do? It's like, here's a pillow. Nah, bitch, you hit him. I don't care. Hit him.
Yeah, you hit.
You're gonna play these. You're gonna play these dudes again, and hopefully next. Well, if it's next time and we have the similar records at the end of the year, they're coming here. We don't go to Buffalo. We avoid the icy pit that is Buffalo when time comes. they'll come to the moist and chilly Jacksonville
Yeah,
Stadium.
yeah, kind of, sort of,
It was
yeah.
kind of cold there for that playoff game against the Titans, our
Hmm.
division playoff game. I can call it because it was our playoff. The winner went into the playoffs.
Yep.
But I'm like he said, we were worried about the defense to start the year.
Hmm.
This defense, I've said it when we started the show. Trayvon Walker is not Hutchinson. He's not
No,
a
he's not.
speed demon. He's going to bull rush you and destroy your pocket. And you're
Hmm.
starting to see that more often. Like you're like, well, Trey, he's a dog.
Hmm.
The tackles he goes up against, he makes them look like they're freaking rookies. Yes, he's not getting sacks, but what does that help? It helps Josh Allen. It helps Smoot.
Hmm.
It helps Fadakasi,
Yep.
Roy Robinson Harris. Helps the interior. It helps Aluakan. Like it
Hmm.
gives our guys an opportunity, and also what it does, it gives our linebackers Muma and I can say Chris Lloyd. If Lloyd didn't have a cast last week against the Colts, he would have had
Yeah.
2 more interceptions.
Yep.
Walker is doing good, in my opinion. He's
Mhm.
actually, because of how this city is, we're not getting enough sacks. You don't need to get sacks in the league. Look what Josh Allen did a couple of weeks ago. He got a sack and got flagged for a personal foul. While our
Yeah,
quarterback
exactly.
is completely murdered and nothing happens. That's still
Yeah.
where I'm still waiting for the narrative to that change where we start getting those calls because
Hmm.
Lawrence is getting slaughtered back there way late, and the referees are just looking at him.
Yeah.
But the defense has improved. We don't have I almost said Calais.
Campbell.
We don't have Calais. We don't have Campbell this week against New Orleans because he still with a hammy. And honestly, I look at New Orleans and you look at what they're dealing with right now. Their whole offensive line's all going to be taped together, and hopefully they can play a
Hmm.
complete game. Carr
Hmm.
is not Derek Carr from 5 years ago. He's
Nope.
lost his step. The last time he played against Jacksonville, he threw 4 interceptions
Hmm.
against a
Yeah.
very average team, and that was last year when he
Yeah.
brought the
Very.
Raiders there. Threw 4 interceptions. There's no threat on New Orleans in offense anymore.
Mm-mm.
Well, they got Graham. Yeah, he was good 10 years ago.
Yeah, he's
When
not
Drew
good no
Brees was.
more.
New Orleans has a good defense. They have a good defensive line.
They do.
They have a good defense, which this is going to be. They said on today's radio, I think it was 690. This game is going to be a traditional traditional NFC South game, even though it's not an NFC South game, where it's just going to be mucky, bruiser, low
Hmm.
scoring, and whoever has the best field goal kicker is going to win the game. And oh, look, who
Yeah.
has the best field goal kicker? It's Jacksonville.
Yep.
Brandon McManus is hitting 56-yard field goals with ease, and I
Hmm.
remember telling Nick at the Casball the other day, it's like it's nice to have a kicker where he comes up and he's going to make the kick.
Yeah.
And
We don't have to worry about that.
and it's with these 56-yard, good, like no
Good.
problem. But you look at the last couple of games, our defense kept the game close
Hmm.
against Buffalo. Jacksonville had multiple chances of blowing Buffalo completely out. But
100%.
again, Buffalo's offense is an elite offense, and you're not going to keep an elite offense off the scoreboard. That's
No.
why that's why when we did that to the Chiefs, I'm like, man, if our offense woke up, I think we would have won that game. And I'm still confident that if we do face the Chiefs again up in Arrowhead, that same defense performance is going to happen. And by then, our offense, compared to what us Jaguar fans would say, like, oh, Jesus, our offense sucked, and they still score 37 points.
Hmm.
This is the NFL where teams are just averaging 23 and a half, and we're averaging 26 points a game, which currently right now I think is tied for 5th or 6th in the NFL. That's
Thanks,
pretty
Fifth.
impressive. But our defense is a key aspect of our success. And,
Hmm.
like I said, yes, Josh Allen's getting the sacks and he's making everything, making big plays. But Trayvon Walker might be the reason why our defensive line is so freaking good is because
Yep.
he's destroying the right side of the offensive lines. And when Josh Allen has it, he's getting feasting on quarterbacks because the quarterback escapes to his side. Now that we
Mhm.
got Smoot back, he got I think an assistant of tackle. No, I think he got a fumble recovery yesterday
Um,
or this
yeah,
past week.
yeah, fumble,
There's
yeah, fumble recovery.
I think Hamilton's back this week. So our defensive line is getting healthy. The trade
Mhm.
deadline's coming soon, and there's rumors that we're going to be going after the guy from was it Dikil Hunter of Minnesota
I
um,
think so.
for like a fourth round pick, from what I've heard.
I'll take it.
Make that trade, bring him down, and you booster that defensive line because
Mhm.
hey, I think we have a really good defense. And the thing is unlike certain teams around the NFL, our defense is loaded and they're not overpaid. We're not
No,
looking at
and
we're not looking at San Diego of let me properly say I'm sorry San Diego fans. I won't offend San Diego ever again. I do apologize, San Diego. Yes, the reason why I'm calling you San Diego is because you're currently renting the facility in LA, calling yourself the Chargers in LA. So San Diego with the overpriced defensive players that give up. Did you watch that game this past Monday night? When they get behind, they
yeah,
collapse.
they collapsed, and
They're front
it's
runners
terrible.
in San Diego,
It, it, it,
Los
it's
Angeles.
it's terrible to see that too, because you know they have the team
They have
to
talent.
win. They have talent. They have the
Yeah.
team to win games, but once they get behind, they don't know what to do. It's like the whole entire playbook has just been like put right in a trash can,
Mhm.
and let's just try to figure out what we can do from there. Uh, I mean, you saw it during when they played the Dolphins.
Yeah.
I think it was like what week 1. I think it was.
Yes, they
I
went toe
think
to
it
toe
was,
with the Dolphins. Yes.
yeah, went toe to toe with the Dolphins. Dolphins scored, and all they had to do was get down the field and score again for the Chargers. But it's like Herbert gets too antsy and he doesn't know what to do. But at the same time, the whole offense doesn't know what to do.
Mhm.
Um, but
It
it's
was
like
it's like,
it
"Oh,
was
let's wait for Eckler to come back. Let's see if he's healthy, or then let's
yeah.
see if Allen's healthy." Problem is you have Herbert, who is always, since he's been in the NFL, a first half quarterback. He's not a
Hmm.
closer.
No, he's not. He performs well in the first half, and once the second half, he totally flips.
Mhm.
He can't close that game. He can't finish it, and he'll try to keep you close in the game, but you can't really ask for that. You have to the Chargers. They have to be ahead, and that Monday night game it was bad to watch. I mean, you had Chargers had opportunities to try to win that game,
Mhm.
but they didn't know how to
Okay.
win that game.
Well, primetime games this weekend are they were okay. Thursday nights, the joys for Jacksonville is that we're 4-2, and a couple of
Hmm.
wins. We might get an opportunity to get another night primetime game. Marquee, if when you're the only game in town, the only game on TV, people will watch. Tomorrow's Thursday night. We'll hear the great color commentators of Al Michaels and
Hmm.
Kurt Herbstreit. Great. I got to deal
Yeah,
with Kurt Herbstreit twice this week,
yeah.
for Thursday night and for Saturday. But one thing that I have to say about Thursday night football is Amazon's presentation of it. They do a very good job or an interesting job of trying to promote the product. But I do not like their homerism because you know dang well they're in New Orleans, so they're going to be
Yeah.
100% New Orleans fans.
Oh,
Um,
100%.
And that's going to happen. Do I think Jags win? Yes, I think the Jags win. Do I think they're going to win comfortably? No, because of one person and one person alone is Trevor Lawrence.
Hmm.
Was he practicing this week? He was practicing this week, and he was. When you know you have a franchise quarterback, the Monday morning, the Tuesday morning, the Wednesday morning sports radio calls are like, "What's the status on his knee?" And he's the only
Yep.
topic in the town. You know you have a franchise quarterback because I don't remember any of this when Blake Bortles was a quarterback. They're
No.
like, "Oh, put some Windex on and go out there."
No. Yeah.
But
You can really see that it's like they weren't really concentrating on the other
Hmm.
Jaguar players that were injured. I mean, yeah, they mentioned it, but their main topic was Trevor. Hey, what's the what's the situation with Trevor? Or is he going to play?
Correct.
What's going on with his? We saw him walking out with a knee brace on, and so forth, so forth. It's kind of it. I should say kind of. It's good to see that we finally have a franchise quarterback here in
Hmm.
Jacksonville. Finally.
Yes. And as much as we Jaguar fans love Gardner Minshew and Minshew Mania and what he did for that short time here,
Hmm.
uh, thank God when last year when they said, or 2 years ago when the asshole to be named Urban Meyer, sorry, I don't want to piss off. I know he did some great things for University of Florida, but I'm
He
not
did
talking
it.
about University of Florida's Urban Meyer. Talking about the asshole that destroyed the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when he said that there would be a quarterback competition between Gardner Minshew and Trevor Lawrence. And what I just watched this past Sunday, there is no competition between it. Garner is good. He did what he had to do when he was here. But
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence is the ceiling on Trevor Lawrence is eliteness Patrick Mahomes ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
Gardner
Yeah.
Minshew is Chad Henne, maybe Chad Henne's height, maybe a little
Maybe Chad.
Nick
Maybe
Foles level, a type of player.
so somewhere
Uh,
around there
but
because
Minshew, in
good.
my opinion, is going to be the starting quarterback for the remainder of the year for the Indianapolis Colts
Mm-hmm.
because of again what me and you have talked about as at the bar and with Nick about Anthony Richardson. Homeboy does not know how to get down, and he
No.
didn't get down, got hurt, and now he's going to miss the season, the whole entire season. And he's
Yeah.
had a lot of quarterbacks. Even the first time we played the Colts at Indianapolis post game, it was I think the sounds of the game the Jaguars do on YouTube. They said they then say Lawrence and Richardson, hugged it out at the end, and Lawrence literally told Richardson, "Bro, you have talent, but get down. This is not
Mm-hmm.
this is not college anymore."
No.
And he was right.
Yeah.
3 weeks
And a
later, he's out for the season.
totally night and day difference for Richardson. He has a talent there, but if he doesn't learn, I mean, results. He did
Yeah.
try to get down. He got hurt. Richardson is good. He's going to be a good quarterback if he stays healthy. If he can't stay healthy, then the Colts are going to be in that quarterback search
Mhm.
again because
The
Minshew.
one thing I have to say about Anthony Richardson, the game is not too fast for him.
No, it's
You
not.
look at a quarterback, let's say in Chicago, who has no idea what's going on sometimes. You could
Mm-hmm.
tell Anthony Richardson's processing of the game is light years ahead of Justin Fields. Light
It
years ahead of
is.
Justin Fields.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Fields has a lot of good talent. I think he's in a bad system. I think he's in a bad city. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the Chicago media, they love their sports teams. I have a buddy who's a Chicago fan, and he knows like if shit doesn't work in Chicago, they want your butt out like
Yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah.
I
It's
think
tough.
if I'm in Chicago, you ship him away to honestly Tennessee, probably a smaller market, Arizona, like
Yeah.
even Denver. Get him out of Chicago to a city that it's mid-range market, but they have other sports actually do stuff in their city that they
Mm-hmm.
can like NFL. Yeah, they're happy to have an NFL team, but their NFL teams like we're just happy to make the playoffs type of
Yeah.
ordeal. Like, and for instance, if Jacksonville was in desperate need of a quarterback, like Jacksonville in the early mid 2000s, where we were
Mm-hmm.
in that David Garrard left switch era where we were switching, that would be a
Yeah.
perfect fit for Justin Fields to come in and fill that gap until the next quarterback. I think he's in a dark place in Chicago. Um, and I think there's the expectations are too high in Chicago for that fan base. And he's just ruined. Anthony Richardson, on the other hand, already knew what system he was going into.
Mm-hmm.
His he was under you. I can't believe I may be given. I'm not bashing Florida here. Just hear me out. He was
Yeah.
underutilized at the University of Florida for 2 years. I don't know what Dan Mullen was thinking first. And of course, Billy only had him for a year. And Billy kind of touched his potential with him, but it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't enough for him to fully express or show off his skills. And I just look here, I look at Anthony Richardson and say, what the hell was Dan Mullen thinking? Like, they had a freaking superstar just sitting on the bench that should be playing. And now you see him go in the NFL. You see that in Anthony Richardson. He
Mm-hmm.
has the talent. He has the mechanics. He has the body for an NFL quarterback. I look at Anthony Richardson and I see a David Garrard type quarterback, but more, how can I say, more athletic, but that type of quarterback. I think he's going to be better than David Garrard. David Garrard was a damn good
I think,
quarterback for
yeah.
Jacksonville, but I think Anthony Richardson is going to be better than David Garrard. The things different between David Garrard and Anthony Richardson, David Garrard knew how to fall down. Anthony
Mm-hmm.
Richardson thought he was a fullback. You don't do that in the NFL.
Nope.
Anthony Richardson, like, I know how we bashed the AFC South of being bad. Houston has their quarterback, and he's going to be an
Oh
issue.
yeah,
He's going to be an
yeah.
issue for years to come.
100%. Because we alluded back to before we played the Texans. We're talking about C.J. Stroud. I mean, the way that he's able to be sit in that court in that pocket and actually like let the plays play
Develop,
out,
yeah.
develop, and he's hitting those receivers in stride, and he's throwing the ball in perfect positions where only his receivers could get it.
Yeah.
So C.J.
CJ's going to be an
Stroud,
issue.
he's going to be an issue. He's already checking off the boxes that are going to make the Texas fans happy.
Yeah.
So by the time you know it, it's you give them like a couple more years, and the Texans will be right back in the playoffs.
I think the Texans
So
and the Jaguars will be competing for division titles for the next 10 years until
I think,
Tennessee finds a legit QB1.
yeah,
Indy might be, but Indy's going to be dealing with salary cap issues this offseason.
mm-hmm. That's
But if
what's going to
Anthony
cost them.
Richardson recovers and still keeps up to what we think he can be and his potential, the Colts will be an issue. I won't be surprised if in 5 years' time the AFC South has 3 teams in the playoffs, the division winner or 2 wild cards, because I think C.J. Stroud is that type of guy, and
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Richardson has the talent. Thing about Houston, they have their guy and have a shitload of cap space. Indy, they might have their guy, they have no cap space. In
No.
Jacksonville, we have our guy for sure. We're
Mm-hmm.
saving money up because we're about to make him probably uh, the richest quarterback in NFL. Hopefully, he doesn't do the Joe Burrow, get paid and then don't show for the first 4 weeks, the first 3 weeks, and
I I don't see Trevor. I don't see Trevor doing that.
no.
I think he still get once he gets that contract, he still performs well. I don't think he pulls a Burrow at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good thing that the Jaguars have already got their quarterback, has already got their team ahead. Like we're already a couple steps ahead of the Texans and the Colts and the Titans. But yeah, alluding to the fact that you give it a couple more years, then yeah, you won't see those Texans, you won't see the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be a pretty interesting season when that happens because we'll be dogfighting it out with them. And
I want to ask you this question before we talk about the Thursday night game because today is Thursday.
mhm,
Got Thursday night football. 4-2. Did you expect Jacksonville to be 4-2? And did you expect the 2 losses to be the 2 teams that we did lose to, or you think we were 4-2 and the 2 losses would be to other teams? I thought we'll be 4-2 at this point in the year, and I'm pretty impressed. But the 2 losses I thought we were going to lose to are not the 2 games that we lost to.
no, I agree 100%. I definitely thought the 2 games we were lost to would have been completely different, but we were all taken back by us losing the Texans as our second game loss.
Mm-hmm.
We that was the type of game that we should have won. Of course, everybody in Jacksonville, everybody in the NFL said, "Oh yeah, Jaguars should win this game." But then we go back to saying, like we always have before, the Texans have our numbers in Jacksonville for some odd reason. So the losing to the Chiefs, I kind of expected it, but losing to the Texans, it was not a. It was kind of like a slap in our face, like
Yeah, true.
we just really like, and this is a dream, right? We had to wake up from this type scenario.
The coffee didn't taste right the next day, type of
No, I did
situation.
not.
No.
No, we're all ready to throw all of our fan Jaguar gears out the window at that point and
Yeah.
just cancel the whole season, forget about it. But
But you look at it this way. This time last year, we were 2-4 at this point because we
mhm,
had we know we lost the opening game to the Commanders and we won back to back against the Chargers and the Colts. Go figure, the Colts.
yep,
And then we went on a 3-game losing streak after that. So we were 2-4, and this year we're 4-2. Schedule's a lot harder this year, but I think we have a better team this year.
mhm,
Uh, I thought our losses would have been to the Chiefs and to the Bills. Were going to be the two losses. I thought, and when I looked at the schedule, we had 4 marquee matchups in the AFC: the Bills, the
mhm.
Chiefs, the Ravens, and the Steelers. No,
Yeah,
Bengals.
Steelers.
The
No, yeah,
Bengals.
Bengals. Yeah, Bengals.
I said we were going to go 2-2 of those matchups. We beat the Steelers and the Bengals, but we lose to the Chiefs and Bills.
Mhm.
You split Kansas City and Buffalo. You find a way to beat Baltimore, which honestly they didn't look too good against Tennessee.
All right.
And the Bengals are not the Bengals of old. Their offensive line can't protect Burrow, and their
No.
defense gives up a lot of points.
Mhm.
So there's a chance you can, catch them. And of course, if Cincinnati makes the playoffs, most likely they're traveling because I don't think the Ravens are going to cough up their division lead at this point.
No,
But
they got that division lead locked down as of right now. As of right now, anything can happen on any given Sunday.
yeah, well, we're 4-2, not bad. You beat New Orleans tonight. You're 5-2. Then you go to
Mhm.
Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh is a hit and miss in my opinion. It's going to be tough to play Pittsburgh in Three Rivers or Heinz Field
Mhm.
or whatever it's being called now. The Steelers are tough. Kenny Pickett's he's hit and miss.
Yeah.
In the words of my coworker at work, who's a diehard Pittsburgh Steeler fan, he's hit and miss like quick grits. You don't know if it's going to be good version or you're going to get a freaking gloppy and shit version. So he mentioned that, and I told him, "It's like, what happens if Jacksonville goes up there?" He goes, "Jacksonville's like our little rival. Like they know how to play Pittsburgh football. They know how to beat each other up in the line of scrimmage.
Mhm.
And hint, when we play Steelers, we have an all-time winning record against the Steelers. We are 11-9, I think, or 11-8 against them.
Somewhere
And
around
plus,
there. Yeah.
the Steelers just have a bad case of can't beat the Jagitis during the postseason. So that's another benefit about Steelers. But this week
Yep.
we played against the Saints. The Saints have a very historical event against the Jacksonville Jaguars back in 2003, where the River City Miracle almost happened, where the Saints basically lateraled it all the way into the end zone for a potentially game tying touchdown for their kicker to shank an extra point for the Jags to hold on to a win. The Jags finished that season 5-11, so it wasn't really a good
Mm.
year, but
Nope.
that's a memorable game by the Saints and Jags. The Saints lead the all-time series against the Jaguars. The last time the Jaguars played the Saints in a regular season game, not preseason. We've played them 3
Mhm.
times in the preseason over the last 10 years. Last time we played them in a regular season game was in New Orleans, and Drew Brees threw for 4 touchdowns, and they defeated us 38-6 in New Orleans. Here's a good thing. Drew Brees is not the quarterback. Here's
Nope.
also a good thing. Their defense is not elite like it used to be. Their defense is good, but it's not elite. Do I
Mhm.
think the Saints are a playoff team? No. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to win that division right at 500 again. Baker
Mhm.
Mayfield has impressed me impressed me this much to say that he's the best quarterback in the NFC South.
Mhm.
Yes, they did lose last week against a very, very good. Damn, who did they play last week?
Lions.
Yeah, they played against the Lions, who I think could potentially be a NFC Championship team. I don't think they're going to go to the Super Bowl, but they're going to be a solid team. Uh, but I look at the Saints, and I watched their game last week against the Houston Texans. And one thing I noticed about the Houston team against New Orleans, you run on the outside on them, they can't stop it. Every time Houston tried to run the ball up the middle, it was getting stuffed. Every time they ran a stretch play to the outside, it was going for 15 to 20 yards a pop. Also, another thing is that New Orleans doesn't like to cover the tight ends. Houston's tight end, don't know who the dude is, number 84, was eating up New Orleans' defense.
Yeah, he was. He really was.
Don't know who it is. But one thing I notice about New Orleans is that you have to give credit where credit's due to the man that's behind the quarterback, and that's Alvin Kamara. You have to keep an eye on him. He is going to get his touches. But the thing about New Orleans, I say this all the time. I said this at work. I'm going to say this here. It's like how you're playing Buffalo. You shut down everybody else and let one person beat you. The thing about Buffalo, they have multiple guys that can beat you. New Orleans, they only have one. Maybe two people.
Maybe. Yeah, like you said, it's like you go back and play like you did against Buffalo. That's why I think Walker and Allen are going to be very successful in it, because I looked at the stats for Derek Carr. It's not that impressive of a stats.
No.
But but the one stat that stood out to me was he's been sacked 17 times already.
Yeah, he's the most sacked quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, and right now they're the starting tackles on both sides of the ball are out.
One's doubtful, the other one's out, and their guard and their starting left guard was limited all week at practice.
Okay, so the offensive
they're beat up on the offensive line.
They're beat up, but
same as us, but we're not that beat up.
We're not that beat up, but Walker, Allen, Smoot, and all them they don't get pressure on Carr, and it's not going to be good for Derek Carr in order that whole Saints offense.
I saw one of the most epic trolls of all trolls, and it was a Raider fan trolling themselves. They showed a picture of Derek Carr and Jimmy G right next to each other, Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah.
And someone literally just said, we traded away Home Depot version of Derek Carr to just get a Macy's version of Jimmy Garoppolo. And they just switched the guys. It was funny. I'm like, that's like, we got Jimmy G's the Macy version of Derek Carr. And I looked at the Raiders fans. I'm like, I feel bad for Raiders fans. That was just an epic meme. But
that's
the Raiders
funny.
won.
I love that.
The Raiders won, and I was like, man, they won the game. Look, they're right there. They're 2-3, right in the mix, and I see who they beat. They have beaten nobody. They beat the Patriots. The Patriots are currently melting inside as an organization. They're going to have a wide receiver probably play quarterback this week because they don't like Matt Jones. Matt Jones is a good quarterback. He is in a wrong system.
I agree. He needs to go to a different team to actually get his foundation back.
And
we all thought
yes. And as a person who knows a lot of Patriot fans, as the Patriots are kind of my second team because of my family, oh boy. They want to burn down the stadium. They want to build a shopping center at the stadium. They want to fire Bill Belichick. They want to hire Tom Brady as head coach to save their franchise this year. That's how ridiculous they're thinking up in Boston right now.
Because they're not used to this. They're not used to seeing this type of season. Like,
no, the greatest player of all time is not going to save them anymore.
He's not going to save. He's going to be at his house chilling, and if he sees that phone call, he'll be like, denied. I don't want to answer that.
Yeah.
I know what's going on.
As for me, who is, I've when the Jaguars sucked, the Patriots is there because I was a big Tom Brady fan, and I respected what Belichick did. And just watching as a person who is a diehard Boston Bruins fan and the Celtics fan and the Red Sox fan, I know what's going on up there, but I don't have that much of insight for the Patriots because I'm not. That's me with the Jags. Like, even though the Jaguars suck for so many years, I'm like, I'm just tired of getting, stabbed in the back, the pain in each seven. Let me just watch an actual good team and turn on the Patriots. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Now I go like, it's like, man, I like my Jags. They're pretty good. It's like, I don't want to watch this shit show in New England. What the hell is going on?
No.
It's like the roles are reversed. But my dad, who's also like me, Jaguar fan, original season ticket holder, but Patriots, or he was growing up on the Patriots because he's from up there. He goes, sometimes the greatest dynasties become the biggest laughing stocks after it. And the Patriots they are one of the greatest dynasties to ever play the sport. And they're going to go through a decade probably of some of the most laughable seasons that even some of the bad franchises who are actually doing pretty good right now, the Bengals, the Jaguars, the Buffalo Bills, who else is doing good? Detroit Lions, who are historically god-awful for so many years. Now they are the ones that are actually good. And all the historically epic franchises that have kicked ass for decades, the Patriots, the Steelers, who else is having the Broncos?
Yeah, Broncos, yep.
They were elite back at the Colts were elite back in the day.
Colts, yep.
The Vikings were elite back in the day. The Packers are elite back, and now they're garbage.
Yep.
And that's the joys of free agency and the salary cap, how it all ebbs and flows back and forth. So for Jaguars' sake, we got about a 10-year window to win something because the next wave of franchises are going to come in 10 years with their franchise quarterback and their organization, and they're going to win championships. The problem is each year, each generation goes through eras. A lot of teams had to go through the Peyton and Brady era. It's like, oh yeah, this is our team. This is the year that we're going to win the Super Bowl. Then you realize it's great. We got to play Peyton Manning at Indy, or Peyton Manning at Denver, or damn, we got to play Brady at New England, or Brady here. You had the eras, and before then was John Elway's and the Brett Favre's. Now we're in the Patrick Mahomes era. Like, oh great, now we got to play. But the good thing about Patrick Mahomes is that I think Kansas City has their kryptonite right now. It may not be affecting them now, but it might get them in the playoffs. And that person's kryptonite is Taylor Swift. I think Taylor Swift is a plant to destroy Chiefs Kingdom. And it's going to be...
tell you.
So
I can't focus right now.
Here's the plan. Jaguar fans, Duval Nation, #Duval. When it's the Jaguars traveling to the Kansas City Chiefs for the AFC Championship game, we need to start doing Duval tweets at Taylor Swift saying that her man is cheating on him with some girl from Duval. And Taylor Swift is going to break up with Kelsey, and then he's going to make a song, or she's going to make a song. Kelsey's going to be so distraught. And then Jacksonville beats them in the AFC Championship game. So when the Super Bowl comes out, we'll hear "Don't Break My Heart" Kelsey song by Taylor Swift, and the story will be complete. I don't care if we don't even win the Super Bowl. At least Kelsey and that drama of like, oh, is Taylor Swift going to be in the game? Like, no, we don't give a shit. No, he's just he's a tight end that was made by freaking Patrick Mahomes. Like the only, I know this is me ranting a little bit. The only reason why as words of Aaron Rodgers, Pfizer boy, which is Travis Kelce. Kelsey was asked at the podcast, I think, with the boys or with the Tennessee Titan, former Tennessee Titan pop player, Busting with the Boys. There we go.
Yeah.
They asked, do you think you're the best tight end to ever play the game? He goes, I am the best tight end to ever play the game. Then I heard Gronkowski have a similar interview with someone else with Barstool, and they asked him about, are you the best tight end in the game? He goes, I'm only as good as my quarterback. Like he gave the question to someone else, and everyone tells me who's a better tight end, Gronkowski or Kelsey. They're both damn good. They both have similar things. Kelsey can run, is a good route runner. Gronk doesn't care about route running. He's going to run your ass over. And then when he runs your ass over, he's going to score a touchdown. He's going to spike the ball in your face. He's not going to dance. He's just going to do the Gronk spike. Give me my trophy. I'm heading to Canton. Kelsey will dance and do the whatever he does. But again, Kelsey's a damn good tight end. Gronk's a damn good tight end. Their egos are completely different. Kelsey's about himself. Gronk's about team. When Gronk said, like, I'm only as good as my quarterback, that tells me a lot about what the Patriot organization was. Kelsey saying, "Oh, it's all about it's all about me." Like, Mahomes is good, but honestly, who was Travis Kelsey before Mahomes? He was an average tight end who played in Kansas City from Cincinnati, Ohio, for the Bearcats. When Patty went there, it became epic because Patty is a MVP. He's a future first ballot Hall of Famer. He's one of the best quarterbacks of our time. We're in the Patrick Mahomes era. So when I heard him say that in podcasts, with Busting with the Boys, like, oh, I'm the best tight end. No. Patty made you, and you're living you're doing his thing. One thing I love about Patrick Mahomes is, even though he sounds like Kermit the Frog, he's respectful. His commercials are kind of corny, but he doesn't make it all about himself in his commercials, even though they're about him because he's the spokesman.
Yeah.
But again, like I've said before, I can't be mad at Coach, especially when you try and get his chicken nuggies. I still love that commercial. The bundling. But there are certain players I look at that do commercials that I have no issues with. But when I see Mr. Pfizer and Mr. Kelsey, it just seems like he's all about himself, me, me, me.
Yeah.
While the other commercials, even more than Mahomes, it's not about him. He's actually doing the product. But the skill, I'm just saying that Kelsey's a damn good tight end. He's going to end up in the Hall of Fame because of his numbers, and he rightfully deserves it. I just think Gronkowski has a better personality to himself because he actually gives credit to his teammates beside himself. Kelsey made him about him. And one thing I love about our tight end here in Jacksonville, Evan Ingram, the dude's humble because he knows Jacksonville gave himself a second chance. And people in New York are like, where the fuck was he when he was here? Well, sorry, when you look at New York, ladies and gentlemen, no one succeeds in New York. It's New York. Look at the Yankees, the second highest payroll team in Major League Baseball. Where were they in the playoffs? Oh, yeah, they were with the Red Sox and playing golf at 11 p.m., 11 a.m. over there at TPC Sawgrass. And then the Atlanta Braves were right behind them at 12 p.m. So,
calm down there. Calm down there.
But it's factual. It was 1 hour later.
Calm down. I'm not over the pain of that. So bad.
I got Roger today on our phone call too. So it's like, hey, we're all doing golf right now. So whatever. But overall, the first 6 weeks of the NFL season have been pretty entertaining. From, oh my God, the sky's falling, the earth is about to explode in week 3 against the Texans. You turn out, look at the schedule, you're 4-2.
Yep.
You're leading the division. Do I think the Texans can stay up with the Jags? I don't think so, but how their schedule's set up, they might be toying with the wild card team, and they might be a team that may knock out someone in the wild card race. I don't see them going on the road and winning the wild card. Knowing them, they'll be the 7th seed, and they have to go to Miami, and they're going to get dusted because Houston doesn't have that good of a defense. But Houston's going to be competitive. Colts, again, they have talent. Salary cap's going to get them. Titans, they are literally, I think, in the precipice of just blowing everything up. I think they're about to be trading away everybody here pretty soon.
They're going to start their rebuilding process here pretty soon. So,
Patriots suck, which is interesting. Also, Broncos country. Let's bury yourself in the grave because you guys are done.
Out of here.
Let's ride. No. Yeah, you're going off of a mountain. Chargers are pretenders. I don't think they're going to be a threat anything out there. Chiefs are going to win that division in a landslide. Go figure. This time 2 years ago, we were saying that's the best team in the division, and it's only been Kansas City's world. No one else has even got a competition. And looking around at the AFC North is going to be a battle, in my opinion. That's why I think Jacksonville is still, in my personal opinion, I think Jacksonville still at least gets the 3 seed this year, possibly 2, depending on what happens with the NFC East between Buffalo and Miami. If Miami wins that division, Jacksonville's a 3 seed. Buffalo wins the division, Jacksonville's a 2 seed, in my opinion, because we'll have the
Hmm.
head-to-head and the tiebreaker if we tie it at the end of the year. AFC South, again, questionable. But
Yeah.
right now, before we leave, we both said I think the Jaguars are going to win. Who are currently through week 6 of the NFL season? Who's in your AFC Championship game and NFC Championship game? And who is your Super Bowl matchup as of what's happened so far in week 6? Since week 6, yes. Since week 6, yeah.
So it's I'll say for our AFC, you see as of right now, I'll see in the AFC Championship game, you probably see the Chiefs Jags again rematch from last year, us going back up to Kansas to Arrowhead Stadium. Uh, if it would be nice to say for us that we come out on top, but since it's going to be an Arrowhead, you're going to see the Chiefs come out because they get their way. They
Mhm.
got Patrick Mahomes and all that. NFC, that's where it gets a little bit trickier because the NFC they're sporadic.
Yeah.
Um, you'll probably see the Lions and the 49ers in it. And yeah, Lions are starting to finally find their identity. They're starting to get there, but you have the 49ers moving on to the Super
Mhm.
Bowl. And it'd be Chiefs and 49ers. Um, if you say who I think is going to win that, I'll say it'd be the 49ers that wins it and win their Super Bowl
Mm.
this year.
Oh, you basically you touched on the 3 teams I think in the NFC.
Hmm.
Uh, I think the Niners host the Eagles in the NFC Championship game. Last
Hmm.
year they was opposite. They were in Philly, and Philly was at home against the Niners with a quarterback with a broken arm who's
Hmm.
playing. Brock will be healthy. It's in San Francisco. AFC matchup. Unfortunately, I don't see the Jaguars in the AFC Championship game.
Hmm.
But also I don't see the how can I say I don't see Buffalo there. I see
Yeah.
Miami traveling to Houston, traveling to Kansas City in one of the
Hmm.
most exciting games in the year. As of right now, based on what I've seen from both teams, what I've seen this year, my Super Bowl is the Miami Dolphins and the San Francisco 49ers.
Really?
Offense versus defense. And right now I have Niners win the Super Bowl because I think they're the best team. They just had an off day in the very swamp mess that is Cleveland. On a
Hmm.
dome stadium, San Francisco has the better defense. San Francisco has, in my opinion, the more complete team than Miami. Miami has the
Hmm.
offensive firepower, but San Francisco has the offense to keep up with them and has the defense to slow them down. And it was
Hmm.
like we seen with Buffalo. They had the offense to keep up with Miami, and they had a defense that can slow them down just enough for their offense to pull away. I see that similar thing happening. I see Jacksonville making the playoffs, being the 3 seed, and then going down to Miami, 3 versus 2, and losing in Miami in the divisional round of the playoff. As of
Mm.
today, it completely changes who it is. But as of right now, from what I've seen, Kansas City they're going to be hosting the Kansas City Invitational. But I
Yep.
think this Kansas City team is very vulnerable. I don't
Yeah.
think I think if they are the 1 seed this year, Jacksonville, Buffalo, Miami are going to be the 3 teams who will advance to the Super Bowl this year. I don't think Kansas City can sustain 4-quarter matchup against a healthy Buffalo team. Because you got to
Hmm.
remember right now, Pat, Buffalo is losing players left and right. I
They
think
are.
they lead the league in IR players, and you just can't pick up reserves off the street and keep that Super Bowl type performance team or potential team. But they do
Yeah.
have Josh Allen, and Josh Allen is a damn good quarterback, and he's going to put you in good situations to win. Uh, Now look at Miami. They have a very explosive offense. They kind of struggled early against Carolina, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what makes me question about Miami. Where if they play against a defense that has a pulse, that they'll have a hard time moving the ball down on good defenses.
Yeah.
Um, I think if they went one-on-one Jacksonville's defense would do enough to keep them settle down and Jacksonville's offense, because we've seen Jacksonville play basically that they scored the most points this season by the worst performance of their offense. They look like crap this past Sunday and still scored
Mm-hmm.
37 points.
Yep.
Yeah, it does help
100% agree.
when you have short fields, but they couldn't move the ball on Indy most of the game. And of
Yeah.
course, they
No.
scored 37 points. What's your score for tonight, my friend? Who you think wins and who's going to be the MVP of tonight's game?
Shoot. I mean, I think our MVP is going to be our kicker. I mean,
Brandon
he's
McManus. Yep.
yeah, he's going to be our MVP of tonight's game. Yeah, I
He's
think
won me
it's going to
so
be.
many fantasy football games this year, dude. You don't understand Brandon McManus. Holy shit.
Well, it looks like they'll be winning another one then, because I see a 24-21 Jacks come up top out of that.
If it's a 50-plus yard kick, yes, sir, because that's 6 points in my fantasy league. And he had 2 of those last week against Indy, so that was 12
Yes,
points for
that's
a
true.
kicker.
That's true.
You had was 24-21, and Brandon
Yeah,
McManus is
24.
the.
This
I'm
is
saying
the same
24
deal.
to the 14, and it's Travis Etienne to the hizzy. Again, him ending crushing Buffalo Bills' dream, and crushing the Saints. Jacksonville wins, go to 5-2 on the season, where they can afford to lose to Pittsburgh next week and be sitting pretty at 5-3, because
Mhm.
the Houston Texans, they have a bye week this week. You have a chance to gain a half game on them. You already have a
Mhm.
game lead on them, but they have the tiebreaker. You get a chance to get a half game on them. But when we go to Pitt, they actually have a tough game. They actually got, I think, they have to travel to Tampa Bay, so they got to take on the Bucks. So hopefully the Bucks can help us a little bit there. But if Jacksonville does a little 2-step here and gets 2 wins against the Saints and against the Pittsburgh Steelers, 6-2 after 8 weeks into a bye week, hey, you look at
Yeah.
that and you look at the remaining schedule, and you go, we just need to find a way to win 3 more games, and we
Mhm.
guarantee a playoff spot, because I think 9-8 gets you in no matter what.
Yeah.
But for Jacksonville, if you're 6-2 in the first 8, in my opinion, in the next 8 games or the next 9 games, if you go 6-3, you're talking about a 12-5, 13-4
Mhm.
type of season. You get me to 12. If you get me to 11 wins this year, I think it's a very successful season. But I'll look at that schedule. There's a pathway to 12 wins. And the only way
Mhm.
I think Jacksonville can host the number 2 seed this year is at 12 wins. So
Mhm.
again, I say, you said 24-21, Jags with Brandon McManus. I say 24-14 with Travis Etienne to the hizzy, because I do think Lawrence is going to start. He's going to be limited. He's not going to be the mobile Lawrence that we know.
Yeah.
So the running game will be crucial. And from what I've seen the last couple of weeks, New Orleans cannot stop the stretch play. They don't run up the middle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doug
Don't
Peterson,
do it.
don't run to the outside, because they can't stop the stretch play, and that's when your play action can get you. Also, I think possibly a big game for Ridley, and also a guy who showed out last week was Kurt. Apparently, the Colts forgot that he was a receiver too, and he had a big game and actually killed them. But with
Yep.
that, ladies and gentlemen, we've been here for an hour. It's kind of a Jag talk. We've been gone for 3 weeks. Apologize. We'll be back in more routine
Sorry.
schedule. We'll see you guys next Wednesday night, or no, not Wednesday. So excuse me. I'm thinking about recording. We'll see you next Wednesday on the Sports Den. Remember, follow Sports Den at the Sports Den. Remember to log in, or not log in, not log in. Remember to subscribe, pay the $3.99 for the membership. Follow us at the Sports Zone 904 at Sports Zone 904 on Twitter. We don't have a Facebook page, we just have a Twitter account.
Mhm.
That's Pat, and I'm Jim. I forgot to do the introduction earlier for the names. We
Yeah, you
just went to
did.
the show because we haven't done this in 3 weeks, so we had to get the show out. So
We're
with that,
getting a
ladies
little
and
bit
gentlemen,
rusty.
ladies and gentlemen, hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Kickoff tonight on Amazon Prime, and I think it's simulcast on Action News Jax. You get to
Mhm.
get the great. Well, he is a great Al Michaels. He's not as what he used to be 5 years ago.
No.
And you'll get Kurt Herbstreit doing play-by-play. Jags, Saints in New Orleans in the Sugar Bowl. Wait a minute, that's college football. No.
We going with this.
Is it the Mercedes Super? I know it's a
It's a
Mercedes.
Superdome. It's a Superdome.
It's a Mercedes Superdome, Superdome,
Whoa,
and
whoa, whoa.
yeah. It's the Mercedes Superdome in New Orleans, right? And it's Mercedes Stadium in Atlanta.
Yes, correct.
Okay, all right. Stop naming the damn our stadiums by the same company, people. Jesus Christ. I'm Jim. That's Pat. This is in Sports Zone 9 to 4. Remember, subscribe, folks. We'll see you next week for more talk. We'll talk about Knowles, Gators, and other news around local sports. We just had to get the show off. Enjoy the game tonight. Jags, Saints, Amazon Prime. This is Sports Zone 9 to 4. Go Jags. Hashtag Duval. We'll see you guys next week. And I can't find the exit. So.
Oh my